The cufflinks were a gift from Elise, and I still wore them that night. Silver ovals engraved with the date of our wedding. 5 years ago. Hard to believe. My name is Marcus Bell. I'm 41 years old, a civil engineer and partner at a firm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. That gala wasn't just for Elise's old classmates. It was supposed to be our anniversary celebration too. I bought her a new dress for it. Had the whole firm send flowers that morning. I wanted it to be perfect. Elise had been giddy all week, rehearsing names, Googling photos of people I didn't know, fluttering around the apartment humming Vivaldi. It's been so long, she kept saying. This reunion means a lot. The venue was stunning. High ceilings, candlelight, waiters floating around with trays of champagne. Elise looked incredible. Emerald green gown, her hair twisted up in that way that made her look 10 years younger. But as soon as we walked in, she drifted away. At first, I told myself it was normal. These were her people, her world. All that music school energy, fast and chatty and intense. I mingled with a few of her friends, or I tried to. Everyone seemed polite enough, but detached. They knew who I was, but they didn't see me. I stood near the punch table watching Elise laugh too loud at someone's joke. She hadn't looked at me once in almost 30 minutes. Then the music changed. Slower. Softer. I scanned the room, trying to find her. And then I did. She was on the dance floor. With him. Victor. The cellist. He wore a sharp black suit, one hand at Elise's waist, the other curled in hers. They weren't dancing like old friends. They were moving like nobody else existed. Elise leaned her head on his shoulder. Her eyes were closed. I stepped forward, my heart thudding. People were watching. I could feel the tension spread through the room like static. Someone whispered my name. Then, right there under the soft glow of a chandelier, Victor kissed her. Not a quick peck. Not friendly. He kissed her like he owned her. I felt something collapse in my chest. Elise, I said. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. She turned, looked at me like she was surprised I was still there. Marcus, she said, breathless. I didn't want you to find out like this. Find out what? I asked, though I already knew. Victor took a step back, but Elise didn't. I'm leaving you, she said. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. Victor and we've reconnected. This is what real love feels like. A few people gasped. I stood there frozen, cufflinks heavy on my wrists, like shackles. You're leaving me, I repeated. I'm sorry, she said, but I won't apologize for finding my soulmate. People were staring, whispering. A violinist near the corner set down her glass. I turned and walked out. Didn't say another word. The doors shut behind me, but the echo of her voice followed me all the way to the parking lot. She didn't just end our marriage that night. She torched it, publicly, and she didn't look back. I don't remember the drive home, just the feeling, like the air was thick and electric, like if I moved too fast, I'd explode. The windshield wipers were on, even though it wasn't raining. When I pulled into the driveway, the porch light was still on. The house looked exactly the same, but everything inside it had changed. I didn't slam the door, didn't throw anything, not at first. I walked in slow, straight to the liquor cabinet, poured 3 fingers of bourbon, downed it in one gulp. I stood in the middle of the living room, still in my tux, and stared at our wedding photo on the mantel. Elise was smiling, head tilted toward me like she couldn't believe her luck. I tore it off the wall. The frame cracked as it hit the floor. I didn't stop there. I punched the wall by the fireplace. Drywall crumbled under my knuckles. The coffee table flipped. The bookshelf gone. I swung a chair against the floor until it splintered. I was breathing hard, chest heaving like I'd run a mile. And then I saw the anniversary gift Elise had left that morning. A leather-bound album, 5 years of us, written in gold lettering. I opened it, stared at the first page. Paris. Our honeymoon. Elise in front of the Eiffel Tower. Me, arms around her. She'd written captions under every photo in perfect cursive. This was the first time I knew I'd picked the right man. I threw it into the fireplace and lit a match. The flames didn't warm me. Eventually, the pain in my hands forced me to stop. Both wrists were throbbing. My knuckles were turning purple. I couldn't move my fingers. The next morning, I showed up at urgent care with both arms wrapped in ice packs and a lie about a fall down the stairs. X-rays showed small fractures in both wrists. The doctor looked skeptical, but didn't ask questions. You're lucky you didn't do permanent damage, she said. I wasn't sure I agreed. By noon, I was at the office. Monica, my assistant, took one look at my arms and the shadows under my eyes, and didn't say a word. Just led me to my office and closed the door. An hour later, she brought me coffee and sat across from me. She did it at the gala, didn't she? I didn't answer. Monica nodded like she already knew. Victor's a showman. Always was. That surprised me. You knew him? Enough to see through him. She hesitated, then said, "Do you want me to handle the accounts? Pull your name off the joint once?" I nodded. Over the next 2 hours, she quietly rallied the staff, changed passwords, removed Elise's access, started flagging anything linked to her. No drama, no gossip, just quiet efficiency. They all knew. And no one treated me like a victim. They treated me like someone worth standing behind. That night, I went home to a broken living room, a pair of useless wrists, and a silence so deep it made my ears ring. But I wasn't going to be the man Elise left behind. Not forever. The first Monday back, Ian knocked on my office door just after 9. He was one of our junior associates, bright kid, maybe 26, still dressing like he was interviewing every morning. Usually nervous around me. That morning, though, he looked sick. "Can I talk to you?" he asked, shifting from foot to foot like he might run. I gestured to the chair. "Sure." He sat, hands clutched in his lap, eyes on the carpet. "I owe you an apology," he said. I didn't say anything. I just waited. "The gala," he said, voice low. I knew. I mean, not everything, but enough. My stomach tightened. He swallowed hard. "Victor was invited weeks ago. Elise told a bunch of us. She said it was a reunion, but really it was all for him. To bring him back into her life. The whole night was arranged so they could." He stopped, breathing hard. "So they could make the transition easier. For her. That's what she called it. Her transition." I stared at him. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Bell. I didn't think it was real until I saw them on the dance floor. I should have said something before. He winced. I didn't know how, and I was scared." I stood slowly, walked over to the window. The sky was overcast. The street below buzzed with Monday traffic. "She asked people to keep me distracted," I said. It wasn't a question. He nodded, ashamed. "And you all just went along with it. Some of us tried not to. But she was persuasive. And she made it sound like you already knew." I turned back toward him. "Did you?" "No, sir. I didn't believe her. But I also didn't stop it. And that's on me." He stood suddenly, reached into his coat pocket, and pulled out a typed letter. "My resignation. I can't keep working here knowing I let that happen to you." I didn't take it. Instead, I walked to my desk and sat down. "Ian," I said, "you made a mistake." He nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. A big one. But you showed up here today to face it." He blinked. "Most people don't do that," I said. "You came in here, told the truth, and offered to take the consequences. That means something." His mouth opened, but no words came out. "I'm not accepting your resignation," I continued. "But I will expect more from you. Starting today." He sat down slowly, like his legs had gone weak. Later that week, I called a full staff meeting. Short, 10 minutes, tops. I stood in front of the room and said, "There are rumors. Yes, they're true. Elise and I are no longer together. What happened was humiliating, but not surprising in hindsight. I know some of you were put in difficult positions. I know some of you stayed quiet when you shouldn't have. But from today forward, I expect this firm to reflect a higher standard." I looked right at Ian as I said it. And that includes loyalty, honesty, and integrity, even when it's hard. When the meeting ended, no one rushed out. No one whispered. They just nodded. That week, the office felt different. Like the air had been cleared. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. And I buried myself in work, because it was the one place Elise hadn't touched. The one place that still felt like mine. It was a Saturday morning when Carla and Trevor showed up. I just finished a jog, sweat still clinging to my back, earbuds still playing some old Springsteen album, when I saw them through the glass of my front door. Standing side by side, looking uncomfortable. Carla held a tote bag. Trevor had that sheepish half-smile he always wore when he was about to lie to your face. I opened the door, but didn't invite them in. "Marcus," Carla said gently, like I was the one who needed comforting. "We were just hoping we could talk. Just for a minute." Trevor shifted beside her. "We never meant for things to happen this way." I folded my arms, keeping one hand on the door. "You mean when Elise cheated on me at a party you both attended and said nothing?" They winced in unison. Carla stepped forward. "Look," Elise was confused. "She thought Victor was just visiting. We didn't know she was going to announce anything like that. I raised an eyebrow. You didn't know Victor was staying at your place for 3 nights last month? Trevor blinked. Carla's mouth twitched. Right, I said. See, Ian told me everything. About the transition. About the distraction plan. About how some of you were in on it. I looked at Trevor. You helped me pick out the suit I wore that night. While knowing. It wasn't like that, Trevor said quickly. We just wanted her to be happy. That hit harder than they probably intended. I stared at them. You wanted her to be happy. Not me. Not us. Just Elise. And now you want to clear your conscience. Carla reached into the tote bag and pulled out a box. One of Elise's jewelry organizers. We figured you'd want this. We're trying to help. I didn't move to take it. You don't get to frame this as kindness. Trevor cleared his throat. Look, man, we know we screwed up. But Elise isn't doing great either. Victor's been different. Moody. Controlling. He's not who she thought he was. I almost laughed. Of course he isn't. I took the box from Carla and set it down just inside the door. Then I stepped outside and handed them a second box, one I'd packed days ago with the rest of Elise's things. Here, give her this too. Carla took it with both arms, eyes lowered. And Trevor, I said, pausing as he looked up. He straightened. Yeah. I reached into my pocket and held up a flash drive. Maybe check your texts from last September. The ones to Ally while you were supposed to be in Tahoe with Carla. His face went pale. Carla turned slowly toward him. Who's Ally? Trevor's mouth opened, then closed. No words. I didn't stay to watch it unravel. I stepped back inside, shut the door, and locked it behind me. And then, for the first time in weeks, I cried. Not angry tears. Not betrayed ones. Just the kind that come when everything is finally out in the open. Later that day, I opened my client ledger. Started combing through the list. Names I'd kept for years. Names who sent sympathy cards, but also knew about the affair. By evening, I had a fresh list, clean, honest clients. And I had never felt so light. I didn't want to go to the networking mixer. Monica had organized it, something casual for local architects, planners, and a few engineering firms we worked with. She said it'd be good for morale. It's just drinks, she told me that Thursday morning. No suits, no speeches. Come for an hour. Smile once. That's all I ask. I told her I'd think about it. I showed up late. Wore jeans and a button-down. Kept my expectations low. The place was a converted industrial space in Durham. Concrete floors, string lights. Jazz trio playing near the bar. I grabbed a ginger ale and leaned against the wall, scanning for someone I recognized. Monica waved from across the room. Then she motioned for someone to come over, a young woman in a cropped leather jacket and black boots. She looked about 20-something. Confident. Sharp. Monica led her straight to me. Marcus, she said, this is my niece, Lauren. She's the intern I told you about last year. Remember? I blinked. Looked at the woman again. Lauren grinned. Wow, you really don't remember me? I frowned. Should I? Without missing a beat, she leaned in and kissed me on the cheek, quick but deliberate, then slapped my shoulder lightly. There. Now you will. I blinked again. Speechless. Monica laughed. She helped us digitize our records during lockdown. You two met over Zoom. Twice. I remembered the voice now. The one who made sarcastic comments about our outdated project management software. Lauren stuck out her hand. Nice to see you in high resolution this time. I shook her hand, still half in a daze. Come on, she said. You look like someone dragged you out of a trench. Let's get food before the crowd descends. We sat at a corner table. Talked for almost an hour. She was in her last semester of architectural licensure. Worked part-time with a firm in Chapel Hill. Asked smart questions. Made me laugh. Mocked the playlist. At one point, she said, So, is it true your ex left you for a cello player mid-slow dance? I paused. Word travels fast. She shrugged. Monica's not exactly subtle. I took a breath, expecting pity or awkward silence. But Lauren just sipped her drink. Honestly, sounds like the start of a great redemption arc. I smiled, a real one. First in months. She caught it. There. That's better. I drove her home that night. We sat in the car a few extra minutes, still talking. As she opened the door, she turned back and said, Text me. I want to see what the inside of your brain looks like when you're not running on heartbreak fumes. I laughed. That's oddly flattering. She winked. I'm oddly flattering. That weekend, I invited her to dinner. At my place. I cooked. Badly. She teased me the whole night, and brought backup takeout. We stayed up talking on the couch until nearly 2 in the morning. No kisses, no declarations, just something quiet. New. When she left, I stood by the window and watched her go. And I realized I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living again. Lauren fit into my world like she'd been there all along. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a sweeping, cinematic transformation. It was subtle. She started coming with me to site visits, to firm happy hours, to client meetings when her class schedule allowed. She asked smart questions, cracked quiet jokes, and never once made me feel like I had to pretend to be anything I wasn't. The first time she came to a firm fundraiser, a rooftop gala in downtown Raleigh, she wore a deep blue dress and brought a tray of homemade cookies for the interns. Said real appreciation didn't come in handshakes. She worked the room better than I ever could. People liked her because she was real. When a new client, a wealthy couple from Charlotte, tried to flirt with her right in front of me, she smiled sweetly and said, "I'm here with someone, and I'd rather talk about reinforced concrete than your golf swing." She always had a line ready. I think that's what saved me. Not just that she was different from Elise, but that she saw me, not the title, not the tux, not the resume, just me. About 3 months in, we attended a charity auction hosted by one of our larger developer clients. The ballroom was glittering, strings of lights, champagne towers, name tags, and gold print. I was pouring Lauren a glass of seltzer when I saw her. Elise, standing near the entrance, wrapped in a champagne-colored gown that shimmered under the chandeliers. Hair perfect, eyes scanning the crowd. She saw me before I could turn away. Her heels clicked across the marble. She moved like someone approaching a lost item, not a person. "Marcus," she said, her voice warm but cautious. "Hi." Lauren turned to look at her. Didn't smile. "Elise," I said. "Didn't expect to see you here." "I wasn't going to come," she said, eyes darting to Lauren, then back to me. "But I've been meaning to talk to you." I waited. "I owe you an apology," she said. "Victor, things didn't turn out the way I thought." I nodded once. "I heard he was let go from the orchestra in Atlanta." Her smile faltered. "Among other things." She took a step closer, lowered her voice. "I made a mistake. I thought he was." I held up a hand. "Stop." She blinked. "I'm with someone now. Someone who actually sees me. Someone who didn't need a gala to figure out what she wanted." Lauren stepped forward. "Hi, I'm the someone." Elise stared. "Right." Her voice cracked just slightly. "Well, I guess you look happy." I met her eyes. "I am." She opened her mouth again, but I turned away. Lauren took my hand. We walked back to our table, fingers laced together. I didn't look back, because Elise wasn't my story anymore. She was just the footnote that led me here. It started as a routine audit. One of our firm's newer clients, a mid-sized construction conglomerate with satellite offices in Atlanta and Miami, flagged unusual discrepancies in their logistics division. Inventory records didn't match shipping manifests. Budget lines looked padded, the usual red flags. The lead auditor on our team, a sharp guy named Max Delgado, brought me the initial findings. "There's someone funneling money through fake vendors," he said, dropping a file on my desk. "And it's been going on for over a year." I opened the folder. The name at the top of the report hit me like a punch to the chest. Victor Hale. Lauren happened to be walking by when I said the name aloud. She paused. "Wait, that Victor?" I nodded slowly. "Looks like he traded his cello for a clipboard and a petty embezzlement scheme." Max glanced between us. "You know him?" "Unfortunately," Lauren muttered, folding her arms. "He's the guy my boyfriend's ex-wife threw away her life for." Max let out a low whistle. "Well, he might be throwing away his own now." As we dug deeper, the story got uglier. Victor had been quietly siphoning funds from equipment rental budgets, rerouting materials meant for client projects, even funneling company money into overseas accounts, all while posing as an operations coordinator with zero financial training. He'd used false invoices, shell vendors, and a proxy email account linked to a woman listed in Spain as a domestic partner. Her name was listed on a birth certificate we uncovered. A 3-year-old child. The scandal broke within days. Victor was arrested after internal investigators handed over the full report to federal authorities. Local business journals ran the headline before lunchtime. Logistics coordinator at Crane Path Incorporated arrested for embezzlement, child support fraud. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. But I didn't feel sorry either. He hadn't just humiliated me. He had orchestrated the worst night of my life. And now he was undone by the same arrogance that brought him there. Later that week, Elise showed up again. This time at my office. Monica intercepted her at the front desk, but Elise insisted she only needed a minute. When I stepped into the lobby, she looked thinner, drawn. Her lipstick cracked at the edges. She wasn't wearing the diamond tennis bracelet Victor had given her the night of the gala. "I just need help," she said quietly. "He drained everything. The accounts, the apartments not in my name. They seized it, and I might be named in the suit if they prove I knew." I stared at her, arms folded. "You want me to protect you?" I said. "After all this?" "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I know that now." I nodded. "You made a lot of them." She stepped closer. "Marcus, please." "No," I said, voice firm. "You made your choice. You backed the wrong man. And now, just like I had to do, you'll learn how to stand on your own." Her lip trembled. "You'd really let me fall like this?" I didn't blink. "You already fell, Elise. I'm just not breaking your landing." Then I turned, walked back into my office, and closed the door. The past had come calling, and I finally had nothing left to give it. It was a quiet Sunday when Lauren found the ring. I was in the kitchen, elbow deep in pancake batter, when I heard her call from the bedroom. Marcus?" Something in her voice made me glance up. She walked in holding a small black box, the kind jewelers always use, matte finish, square edges. She looked amused. "I was looking for your hoodie," she said, waving the box. "Found this instead, under your socks. Not exactly a Fort Knox hiding spot." I wiped my hands on a towel. That wasn't supposed to happen like that. She opened it. Inside was the ring I'd picked out 2 weeks earlier. Simple, elegant, with a single sapphire in the center, flanked by 2 smaller diamonds. She smiled down at it, then pulled out the folded slip of paper tucked beneath the velvet cushion. "What's this?" she asked. I hesitated. It's what I was going to say." She unfolded it. "Read it silently." Then, softly, "You make it easy to breathe again." She looked up, eyes shining. "Marcus." "I didn't know if I'd ever be ready to ask anyone again," I said, voice low. "But every time I look at you, I feel like the man I was always supposed to be." She crossed the room and wrapped her arms around me, laughing through tears. "You idiot," she whispered. "You didn't have to hide it. I wanted it to be perfect." She grinned. "You made me pancakes shaped like hearts yesterday. You're already winning." I dropped to one knee, still dusted in flour. "Lauren Moore, will you marry me properly this time? Or do you prefer to just keep finding things in my sock drawer?" She laughed, really laughed, and nodded. "Yes, obviously yes." She knelt with me, the ring still in her hand, and kissed me like the world had finally stopped spinning too fast. Later that evening, Monica lured me to the office under the pretense of a last-minute zoning crisis. When we walked in, the lights flicked on to reveal the entire team gathered with champagne, cake, and a huge banner that read, "He put a ring on it, finally." Someone had printed out a photo of the ring from a jeweler's website and taped it to the wall. Lauren covered her face in mock horror. "Monica." Monica shrugged. "You're my niece. You think I wasn't going to pull some strings?" Everyone raised glasses, joked, celebrated. But beneath it all, there was real joy, real warmth. It wasn't just about the engagement. It was about the fact that I had survived the storm and come out stronger. That night, after everyone had gone home, I sat on the balcony with Lauren curled beside me. For the first time in a long time, the future didn't scare me. It made me excited, because I wasn't just healing. I was building again. And this time, I had the right foundation. We got married on a beach in Cape Hatteras. No ballroom, no chandeliers, no string quartets. Just us, a handful of close friends. Monica officiating in sandals, and the wind tossing Lauren's veil into the sky like it had been waiting to carry her away. It was perfect. The ceremony was short, sweet, and exactly what we needed. No performance, no spectacle, just vows spoken from the heart, bare feet in the sand, and a promise that this time, this life, would be different. Afterward, we spent 2 weeks in Portugal. Lauren had always wanted to go. We wandered through cobblestone streets, ate too much seafood, and danced to buskers on the waterfront like teenagers. It was the kind of peace I didn't know I was still allowed to feel. When we came home, we didn't go back to our old lives. We started something new. Lauren joined the firm part-time while finishing her licensure. Clients loved her. She had that rare combination of warmth and precision. And when we worked together, it wasn't just productive, it was fun. We bought a modest house in Durham, with a backyard full of sunlight and a kitchen she insisted we remodel together. I thought it'd be a disaster. Instead, it was where we learned how to be a team, tile by tile, mistake by mistake, until it was ours. 3 years later, our first son was born. Then a daughter. Then twins. 4 kids in 6 years. Loud, chaotic, exhausting. And somehow, still the greatest thing that ever happened to us. I taught them how to build model bridges and fix leaky faucets. Lauren taught them how to draw buildings and dream out loud. We hosted noisy birthday parties, burned frozen pizzas, took camping trips where no one slept, and every now and then, when the house was quiet and the lights were low, we'd look at each other and smile like we still couldn't believe how far we'd come. Work stayed busy, but I never let it steal time from them. Not the way I used to. The firm grew. We opened a second office. Ian eventually became a junior partner. Monica finally retired, twice. We threw her a party both times. As for Elise, she faded. Quietly. Victor's fraud charges followed him for years, and Elise was never quite the same after that. She married again, briefly. Twice. Nothing stuck. Last I heard, she'd moved to D.C. and was doing freelance music coaching out of her apartment. Sometimes I wondered if she ever thought about what she lost, but I didn't dwell on it. I had too much to be grateful for. One night, while tucking our youngest into bed, he asked, "Did you always want a big family?" I looked around the room. Toys everywhere, drawings taped to the walls, a faint smell of cookies drifting in from the kitchen. "No," I said, brushing his hair back. "But I always wanted this." And I meant it. Every single word. The last chapter of my life didn't come with drama. Just quiet mornings. Slow coffee. Fewer meetings. The kind of peace I used to think was only for other people. Lauren passed 5 years before I did. Breast cancer. Quick and cruel. She went in the middle of the night, her hand still in mine. For weeks after, I couldn't touch her side of the bed. Couldn't bring myself to move her books, her slippers, her favorite scarf still draped over the back of the couch. But grief softened with time. And eventually, I found her in the smallest things, in the way our daughter laughed, in the sketches our son left in the kitchen, in the smell of cinnamon she used to add to everything. The house stayed full. My children came home often, with spouses, grandkids, dogs, and the same terrible board games we always pretended to enjoy. I was in my 70s when I saw her again. Elise. I was sitting outside a cafe in Raleigh, same spot where Lauren and I used to get coffee after church, when I heard someone say my name. Marcus. I looked up and barely recognized her. Elise was thinner, her hair streaked with silver, makeup faded, and eyes tired. She wore a coat that looked 2 sizes too big. Not elegant, just heavy. "I heard you still lived here," she said, smiling nervously. "I wasn't sure if I'd run into you." I nodded, polite. "Still here." She glanced at the empty chair across from me. I gestured toward it. She sat slowly, like her body had long since forgotten how to move with grace. For a moment, she said nothing, just looked at her hands. "I owe you a real apology," she said finally. "Not just for that night, but for how I treated everything. You were good to me, and I was cruel." I sipped my coffee. "Yes, you were." She looked down. "I thought Victor was going to give me a bigger life. Turns out, he gave me just enough rope to hang myself." "I know," I said. "He was arrested. Twice. I lost everything after that. Not just the house, or the money. Friends, too. Reputation. There were people who wouldn't return my calls." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, and I meant it, but not in the way she probably hoped. She nodded. "You look peaceful. Content." "I am." She blinked. "Is it wrong that I'm jealous?" I didn't answer right away, just looked out at the street, where a little boy was holding hands with his grandfather. "You made your choices," I said gently. "So did I." She reached out, touched my hand briefly. "Do you think we could stay in touch? Even just as friends?" I pulled my hand back slowly. "I don't think so." She nodded. No argument. Just silence. When she stood to leave, she looked 10 years older than when she sat down. I watched her go. That night, I fell asleep surrounded by framed photos. Lauren holding our first child, Monica dancing at her retirement party, all 4 of my kids piled on the old couch laughing at something long forgotten. And when I woke, I wasn't in my bedroom anymore. I was standing in our backyard, only younger. stronger. The air glowed. And Lauren was there, barefoot in the grass, eyes bright, holding out her hand like she'd been waiting all this time. I took it, and for the first time since losing her, I was home again.